Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Drum on Viva Niger Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. If you can hear me, I say a very warm welcome. Thank you once again. This is the realization of weeks and months of work. So, if this is clear, if you can hear me, if you can hear me speaking, if everything seems to be working just Hi everyone, thank you. We made it. We made it. Bad Gang, we are live on the new system. I am so grateful to all of you for your patience. What the system means is you can call in from whatever country you are in. So I can actually hear you. I can actually bring you into the studio with a number that is local for you. So thank you for your patience and welcome. Now that I've got that out of the way, I need you to pray to whatever God you serve, Mohammed, Jesus, Yahweh, Shango, Ahmad Yoha, the world people don't come between me uh and this program basically and this new system that we've got. So now that we're online, let me introduce you to the rest of the crew. We are joined by a whole bunch of people. As you know, it is not possible for one person to be a member of the Bad Gang. So let's bring everyone in and say hi to everyone one after the other. Starting with, hi, Nkiru. How are you doing?
Hi everyone. Hi listeners. Hi everyone online on the show. Welcome to another amazing and fantastic week. Loads to do. Loads to do.
Loads to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, for those
Yeah.
of you who are streaming live, please let me know what the quality is like. Let me know if you can hear me properly. Let me know if you can hear Nkiru properly. Let me know if we're shouting. Let me know if our voices are too low. Let me just know how it's going for you. If you've been following us right from the days of Blog Talk Radio, then please do let us know if you're feeling, if you're feeling your niggas in it. So next we have the HR herself of the Bad Gang in charge of hiring and firing. Hi, Rachel. Hi.
Hi. Hi, yes. That's why everybody is very good because they know I can fire them anytime. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
They behave themselves.
Welcome.
They know better. They know better than to try
They know
you.
better.
Exactly. Next, I have actually we have a new. Oh, let me check this number first and see who this is. Caller ending 8839. Hi, caller. Can you hear me?
Hi. Hi, Gracie. Gracie.
Busy, hi. Welcome. You are now officially being inaugurated into the Bad Gang. Welcome. It is
About 20 years too late. Hi,
about
everyone.
20 years too late. I think we're going to find that you are
I
actually
haven't seen the TV. You cannot be hiring people like that.
Hold on. Abio.
Oh, I see it's endless. I stopped at the 15th stage because it was getting very, yeah. So
It was Tima.
Ladies,
Yeah.
let me tell you, Busy is Bad Gang. He's bad. He's not a member, or he is Bad Gang by himself.
as a plural.
He's Bad Gangs with an S on the end of it. I really felt like we needed more men in the room because I've always said it that the talking drum is not a witch's coven. It's not a bunch of women getting together and just agreeing with themselves. We need to hear what the men have to say.
Don't mind me. Don't mind me.
So we're going to have some men who are not scared of speaking their minds, and BC is certainly that.
Nice.
Now, rounding up the room is one more person who is new, but she herself is also Bad Gang. In fact, she's Bad Gangs. She is Team Okra. In fact, let me put it to you this way. She had 4 children, and it's not as if she planned it like that, but the thing too sweet. Everyone say hi to Abby.
Hi,
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Back at my house.
This isn't Abby, this is Bimbo.
Ah.
Oh, there's another person online that is Bimbo.
Oh no, this is Abby. Abby, why your voice gone deep like this?
You see your life, Rachel. You see your life.
That's like, this is Abby. Okay, I'm getting confused. There are two different Abbies in this room.
No,
There
you're
can only
the
be
only
one.
Abby. There's only one
There can
Abby.
only be one Abby. And they, okay, I just wanted to make sure. You know, like my husband says, the ultimate ashawo is all good.
In fact, we cuckoo know you. Well, I know you, but the rest of them will know you soon enough. So, what are we talking about today? Without further ado, because I know that's why all these people are here, and that is why we decided to launch this system today, because we needed to be sure that people could call in a number that they can literally stay on the phone and talk. Today, we're going to be talking about sexual fantasies. You heard me. Sexual fantasies. Who, what, where, when, threesomes, foursomes, moresomes, how, whether on a do am wear clothes, whether on a off clothes take do am, I don't know what you're up to. But today, we're going to...
So that way you can finish.
Abby, let me tell her, Abby.
Tell who?
Rachel, now.
I'm not speaking out. I'm actually just speaking out loud. It's like voices in my head. So just ignore me when you hear what I'm like.
Abisola Ashewo near Bisola. Let's say Abisola Abi Ashewo near. Now that we have confirmed what kind of a human being Abby is, we have one more person to welcome into the bad gang, the queen bee herself, the bee that puts the bee in bad gang. Abimbola Mionwo. How are you, Red?
Hello out there. I guys will not believe the day I had. I will not go into details, but I will say this. This is a topic that is sorely needed in my life. So,
BC, please let me introduce you to Bimbo. Actually, no, let me take that back. BC, let me introduce you to Carmen, because she actually has a pseudo personality. Carmen is the person who told us about vibrators. Now, that's not true. We all know what a vibrator is. But she told us about vibrators that she plugs right into the PowerPoint. So she and Duracell don't have any business.
Like that.
The ones you plug in, I need to Google.
BC, let me tell you what is happening in Carmen's area. What normally happens is once you try to turn on your light switch and the light starts flickering and it's like the light doesn't want to stay on. We all
that turn your full current.
Obviously, Carmen does not live in Nigeria. You just die on the spot, but it's all good. I don't know. Carmen does not live in Nigeria, but then I don't know what these ladies are talking about. I'm so innocent. It's all lies.
Carmen, if Carmen was in Nigeria, Carmen would be like, Motife debe. Never be like, Iboni Jero and law. Why do you know you are going?
There will be no Carmen if Carmen was in Nigeria. There will only be in Keti.
There will be in
Keti.
Oh, God.
Nkechi alone. Nkechi are bad girls, so bad girls.
Bad girls.
Can we go on to the topic at hand, please? Sexual fantasies. I want to jump right in, as it were, because one of the conversations that I was having with one of my friends earlier on yesterday, when we were talking about this topic, was to say, what we think are the most common sexual fantasies are not necessarily the most common sexual fantasies. So let me go around the room and say, what have y'all heard? Okay, if you are not going to tell me what your fantasy is.
You just say what you want.
I mean, I will tell you my own fantasy. A guy that does what he says he will do when he says he will do it, or more, I go off pints. Neat.
If you think exactly what it does, of course.
What does that mean? I beg. That be the
Yeah,
program.
but I mean, you have to really explain and expatiate. If it's a guy that says what he will do and does it, as in,
No, I mean like, babe, can you put out the trash? Okay, darling, I'll put out the
In
trash.
other words, I thought Rachel meant that a guy that doesn't write a check and you can't cash it. I think that's what Rachel is trying to say.
Yes.
You know.
And
So
he doesn't.
basically, don't write a check your mouth can cash.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Oh, and by the way,
well, in this case, the book can't touch.
Exactly.
True.
And another one, if you what is my other fantasy? You don't have to be particularly big. 4.5 inches is all I need. And black and have a limitless credits facility. That is that makes me all hot and bothered. I am a very happy person. You will see how my body will be doing me. 4.5 inches, I'm a happy bunny. So, do you know what? I'm going to start with the man in the room. Bissy,
Yeah.
when I think of guys, I feel like the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, threesomes. Every guy wants 2 women on his penis. Is this true? In your opinion, you must have been part of locker room talk. You must have been part of what have you? Is this true?
Not necessarily, but I think to a degree, I think fantasies pretty much graduate over time, men and women. But I think it depends on how far gone the man is in his sexual life. I mean, a 13-year-old guy, for example, pretty much be satisfied touching a baby's boobs, like I was when I was 13. Once you go past that age, I think you think about myself, touch the boob. I need to do something else, like slip my hands under our pants. And then you sort of like graduate from there. By the time you get to like the threesome part, you're like, I mean, if this was the matter, you like a capo di tutti capi kind of, you've gone so far, you're not coming back again. And then from that point on, the boundaries just extended. So if a group of guys are together and the fantasy all pretty much remains within the confines of threesome, foursome, plenty-somes, 2 people giving you blowjob at the same time, then those ones are not even bad gangs anymore. I mean, bad is not a superlative term that can qualify them. So I think you're getting to like super sexual, fantasized kind of people. So my own kind of locker room talks now still has some sort of boundaries. But yes, we have dabbled into talks about threesome, etc. But then again, you've also got to like graduate what you want. You might think, like, my next line now is I've done this, been there, done that, bought the t-shirts in all sizes. Let's now do this. The threesomes might not be, all right, would it be threesomes with like women from like different continents, for example? Not necessarily, all black women. It could be a lot of things, but I would say on the scale of 1 to 10, of the sort of chaps I know, the threesomes will hover around like the 70-80% mark. So, yes, I'll beat around the bush a bit, but yes, I think it's a common thing amongst chaps, the threesome or foursomes kind of.
Okay, so, but I have this question. But are fantasies necessarily things that are obtainable? Because I can be 13 and never having touched a boob in my life. But I could have seen porn before and I could have said, oh, that's the threesome is where it's at. So is a threesome, so for example, I have a fantasy that one day I'm going to sleep with Colin Farrell. Don't judge, don't ask. Everyone knows this and it is.
I get it. Colin Farrell is what? I get it.
Colin Farrell is that guy that everybody will say to you, babe, he's bad news. He's not going to call you in the morning. He's not going to, and you'll be like, leave it. I like it.
I
I
like it
like
like
it
that.
like that. Deshe, thank you. Just leave me, you know. So, um, but that's not necessarily something that will happen in this lifetime. So, is a fantasy necessarily something that is achievable?
You
Are
have
we are
different
we are
different
we going
fantasies
away
and
from?
wishes.
No,
You
because
wish.
sorry, hold on 1 minute, BC. Abby, what were you about to say?
I was saying, are we going away from the question itself, which is what are the most common sexual fantasies? Like
Yes.
right now, I feel like we're beating around the bush. We're not being really specific.
That's
Okay.
what
I
I
think
think.
we're kind of generalizing a little bit. So I'm just trying to bring us back to focus here. Like, really, what are the most common sexual fantasies that
Oh yeah,
most
let's go.
people would actually want? And then I think we should go around the room and mention some. Let's be actually specific on this matter.
I like it. Start, Abby.
All right, for women, definitely there's what we call a rape fantasy.
Yep.
People would think that is actually crazy, like, but I think a lot of women actually fantasize about being taken against their will. It's
Yes.
not that they necessarily want it, but
Yes.
that's something back there where you just kind of feel like, I'm just I'm gonna pretend like I'm sleeping, just F me. That's one
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
There's another one that I think a lot of women like, but I feel like a lot of Nigerian or African women don't explore. We call it reading. I don't know if people have heard about it. This is basically where a man just kind of goes down on your ass.
Woo, ring! I mean, I'm sorry. Sorry, you were talking.
And
I'm
it's
gonna let you.
interesting because what do they call it again? What did you say? I said, what do they call it again?
Rimming.
It's called ribbing.
RIMMING.
RIBIN. It's called ribbing. Basically, the guy pretends he's about to give you a head, but he actually goes a bit to your a-hole. And it's an interesting sensation. If people have not tried it, they might want to. But I have. I'm just there's also, the fantasy for, I'm speaking specifically for women here. I can't really speak about men. I mean, I can talk about men because I know things that my husband actually would consider a fantasy. I don't consider having additional people in the room, for me personally, interesting. I feel like there's certain things that, as partners you can do, and you can actually heighten things up. Anal sex for sure. That's definitely one of the more common. And I think a lot of women are actually scared to try it, or they're worried about complications and all of that. But there's certain ways that you can actually do it that is actually pleasurable. There's so many. So I don't want to take the whole floor, but I just wanted to kind of mention a few that I think a lot of women actually enjoy, but a lot of people don't like talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I agree with you on the, at least the rape fantasy. I mean, there's the reason why 50 Shades of Grey sold as much as he did.
Yeah.
It helped that she used a billionaire, because if she used a guy in a wife beater in a trailer park, that would be, domestic violence. So that's a different matter.
That was so very cleverly put. Yeah, that's true.
No, but I do have a little bit of a rape fantasy. I'm not talking about random men. No, I'm talking about me and you have had words. We know what we're doing. We're meeting at a certain place. We have our word and everything. Yes, I will go for that, surely. But obviously, I like, that's when, that's when life starts getting in, because, it helps that he's not beating you in a shitty trailer. So that's all well and good. If you do it in a really nice hotel that you guys are chosen, you're looking good, he's looking good, the lights dimmed, decor is beautiful. You know that when you're going to be landing on the bed, you're not landing on the bed with a spring popping out and you pull out couch, something like that. No, that kind of stuff, yes. So I can get that.
So there's definitely. So I think I'm somewhere in the middle where I don't think I have a rape fantasy at all, but I would certainly say that I have a domination fantasy. I can't have a situation where I am the dominatrix in the bedroom. I can't. I like. So if we're talking about role play, you could talk about, I don't know, the boss and the secretary, or I don't. That is a very, very clear fantasy. So role play and things like that. But I associate rape with being taken against my will,
Yeah,
and I
so I'm
don't.
not saying it's a bit much, but yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Okay. So any other fantasies we haven't talked about?
This is the first time as a guy. This is the first time I've actually heard about the rape fantasy in women. I've always associated that with a higher, violence, But it sounds quite interesting because as a guy, I'm going through school, and there have been times in the past where it's coming back. There have been times in the past when you have girlfriends and you've gone out. It's not like the Stockholm syndrome, but where the very first time would have been no, but then things are slowly slipping off, even with the nose. Yes, now
Stop it, but I like it.
Yeah, those girls, you're taught when we says no, it means no. But there is also that, when it's no, but the hands are particularly protecting you from taking off the clothes, they're actually assisting you. And, that proves, perhaps that sort of fantasy, it might just be that woman at the time was carrying out that fantasy, but then
I've definitely.
And sometimes it's not
reached that point in his own sexual experience to understand that was what was happening, and perhaps it would have made it even more interesting for her by doing these things to,
The other thing as well is having a fantasy doesn't necessarily mean that you now want to practice that fantasy with every guy you've ever been in a relationship or every woman you've ever been in a relationship. Not everyone that you've been with at a particular time, whether you were interested in those fantasies or not, would have actually fulfilled that part of the role that you wanted them to play. So, if I pick one of my fantasies, there will be a specific X that maybe fit that, and there will be a specific X that didn't. So
that makes sense.
It also has, it isn't just about someone just fulfilling the fantasy, it's about a particular type of person.
Okay. I've definitely heard about rape fantasies before. I just, for me personally, it doesn't appeal to me. But I have heard about it, and I can understand the mindset behind it. So speak to us, Bissy. What are some of the male fantasies that we should be aware of? What are the most common male fantasies? And actually, Abby says she knows the fantasies that her husband might like, or stuff she might have discussed with her husband. So stuff to do with male fantasies, I'm interested in finding out about.
The funny thing is, like I was trying to explain last night, that you could have an aisle about a half mile long in Waterstone, just filled with books and sex, and you can read and flick through all, and you wouldn't have touched or scratched the bottom of what we kind of try something and then move on to a man's fantasy might be to dominate, which pretty much is, we would account for maybe 9 in men or all 10. It's that very feral thing that comes with men, to dominate, end up. You can't sugarcoat it, and that then comes with trying different things. Now, with the first type of the partner, you might want to basically, the sex might be as clean as you possibly can, but then there'll be that need to want to slap a bum. And then you think, if I did what it was actually shy of when you then you cheat. But if you not did that, she now goes, oh, how the heck? Then the next step, let me even talk her hair back and see if and then from that point, my she's enjoying it. Then then the names might not come out. F me, bitch, and all that. So in one process, you might start off by.
Well, no. You're trying to What are the most common male fantasies that there? As much as you say, yes, there's how long is a piece of string, but there must be one or two that crop up time and time again. I know there must be one or two that crop up time and time again because porn seems to have the most.
Men is one man and 2 women. End of. I think that's the most common one for a lot of them.
That's probably like the most common, where a man wants two women or whatever. But also, I believe, there's some fantasies that, men likes to be dominated. Men don't like that situation where they always want to initiate in the sex.
Yes.
They want you sometimes,
Yes.
at least, or, at least initiate the sex and just, and, it's interesting because they want you to, well, let me not generalize, let me just speak. They, like your man wants you to be that queen, but he also wants to be able to tear your clothes off and just come to him, and that surprise element,
Yeah.
And they want it in such a way that they don't need, they don't see it coming.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean, they want you to talk nasty, like really nasty.
Yeah.
They also want you to fuck them like they're a stranger,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like, the same sex, and I'm not even talking about roping where you're just having no, I'm talking about, you walk into the room and you're like, listen, I'm fucking you and there's nothing you can do about it. And, so that's definitely, I feel, a common thing. Definitely all this is on the top. Not just the normal, I blow you. Some really like their nipples crunch, some like their balls chewed, some likes ribbing. Men actually like, I don't care. Heterosexual men actually like ribbing. I don't care what anybody
Heterosexual men love the hell out of some rimming. So
I'm telling you,
if Abby,
like some men actually want your fingers in their ass.
Oh yeah. And that has nothing to do
even
with.
You're not gay, or it has nothing to do with being gay.
At all.
Because you're doing it with a woman, but you just want to be able to be totally free and wide open. And so
it's because the prostate gland is right there. There is a gland right in there that can be stimulated, and it does fantastic things. It has nothing to do with so therefore next thing you're going to go and look for Billy Bob, or you're going to go and look for Kunle or whatever. There is a gland in there. It's not about that. There is something in there that is actually very stimulating about it.
And men also, and men also like you to be slutty, especially, when you're married, and, a lot of people kind of get a bit uptight after marriage, and they don't lose, all of that, I think, well, as a woman, my man anyway, just want you to be yourself, like, be 100% yourself. Don't try to force things, don't try to, hold back because you're married, or feel like, if I do this, then, I think, a lot of men like that, where they just know that, what, I'm going to be in for a really good time, and I can't really predict what my wife would do or what my girlfriend would do. And then you basically come with your A game.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't see me right now, Abby, but I'm raising holy hands, as in I'm like, Abby for president, Abby 2017, Abby.
No, like seriously, I mean, as a woman,
Abby's name is on voters card already.
I'm telling you something.
I've been married for 12 years, and I'm very proud to say that my husband and I, we have a really passionate relationship. And it's because we're very honest with each other, we're very vulnerable with each other, and we try not to be judgmental, I mean, like I said, one thing I've never been really interested in introducing another person, and it's not because of insecurities. I just feel like, I mean, there's just a lot more that we can explore, and just kind of, go external for me. It's not something that, and like I said, we've been married for 12 years, we've known each other for almost 15. And one thing that I do appreciate about my sex life is the honesty behind it, where you feel like you can do whatever you want and you're not judged for it. And it takes a special person for you to be able to go there, because a lot of marriages don't even have that. You're scared, like if you're wide open and you demand certain things, and you're like, what, babe, I want to touch myself. Right? I don't want you to touch me. You stand there, and I want to touch myself. Some men might find like, she's not this slut or whatever, but it turns my man on when it feels like I can handle myself without, even with him in the room. So, so the number one fantasy I think is being honest and being vulnerable.
And I also think a big fantasy that men, I think Abby touched on it, about the woman proactive or being the one who starts it. I think the number one fantasy for men is enthusiasm. Like, act like you wanna fuck me. Don't just be there like, no, no, yeah, off the lights. Oh yeah, this. Like,
Rachel, that laugh was very on point. So I imagine you've done that a few times.
Amy Adepeju, I don't even know what you're talking about. But moving on.
But I think Abby's right. Abby's right. Most men, well, yeah, both sit side by side. But then again, but within you might want to graduate this into maybe in partnerships or a single person type of fantasies, because you experience or make either or both limitless, depending on whether or not you've got one partner or multiple. Now, in most marriages, I think men would prefer, and I myself, and if I speak on my behalf, it becomes. I mean, the number one fantasy in the marriage is to come in and have a woman, like, for one day. So yes, today I'm taking you, and what has happened? That will keep the guy going for like the next 12 months.
Yes.
The first time that happens, that will keep the guy going, and there's not one man alive that will say, no, that's one. He comes home and she's like all slaughtered and all that. So sit down there and take. That is something that if it has never happened to a guy, then he doesn't know what he's missed, or he's missing. But for a single person, or maybe someone who has not experienced that before, either in a relationship or with a partner, as a one-off, he would try it maybe one more time, or if the girl does it one more time, and then he moves on. Because fantasies are pretty much like, I think for the way I see it is, and the way women look at our fantasies, we're like gas cookers. You strike a match, you turn the knob, you fire lights. It's hot. Once you turn that knob back to zero, the thing goes cool. As if the guy walks away. He tries one or two more times, and then that's it. It becomes like tedium. Women are like electric cookers. You turn the knob, it takes a long time for that thing to get hot. It takes even longer for it to get cool. You hold on to it longer than we guys. So our fantasies change a lot quicker and we're more frequent with the way we explore than with women. That's just my opinion. I think a woman can hold on to.
At what point does a sexual fantasy become a fetish? Because there's some people, like fetishes, people never really get over fetishes. Whereas,
so
you're saying that men tend to.
If I can jump in there, a fetish is something. A fantasy is a nice to have. It falls under the category nice to have. And by the way, it can stay in your mind and not actually be lived in real life. For example, Colin Farrell, call me boo. Moving on. A fetish is something that you can't do without. This is what you need in order to have.
A fantasy. That is a whole different conversation.
Exactly, but that is the main difference between the two. The main difference is if I have a foot fetish, for example, I'm the kind of person who likes sucking toes or having my toes sucked or whatever the case may be, I actually cannot experience sexual pleasure if this toe sucking is not part of what we are doing. That is a fetish. I cannot, if I have a fetish about being whipped or something, I cannot experience sexual pleasure unless you whip me. It's not like, sometimes I like it, sometimes a fetish it has to be on the table. It has to be in the menu, basically. That's the difference. It is an abiding...
I guess we'll talk about that some other day.
Yes, exactly.
Both are two different strands.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They are two different
now, I know that one of the questions that Rachel also was asking was that this fantasy is healthy. And my answer would be hell yeah. Because you know what? At the end of the day, it's whatever gets your go. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, and whether you're in a relationship or you're single and you have a partner or whatever, I feel everybody has the right to their own fantasy, either with you or without you.
Yeah.
So finding the right partner really, finding a partner that buys or that has a buy-in into your fantasy also is an ingredient to a healthy relationship. You cannot have somebody that wants and with somebody that absolutely abhors it. Now, let's not go talk about, like abhors as, they did it before and it hurt. I'm talking about somebody that finds it very morally disgusting. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So it's very important that, there's that honesty and that buy-in. When you're having those conversations about things that you like, not, anything goes, you just like me up. No, you have to be specific as to things that you follow. Both men and women have to be very specific about things that, they like and things that they do not like. The other part, part of what I'm trying to say, is it healthy? Absolutely. It's 100% healthy. How do you introduce it to a partner? It's all about talking. And then, like DC said, it changes. And that's what's interesting about it. Like, it changes
Bisola, we can hear you.
Hold
on 1 minute.
Like, for me, did you hear me? For me, as a woman that is getting old.
Sorry, just 1 minute. We have so many people talking. Abby, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. It changes from, it can change from year to year, month to month. But what does not change is the active communication that leads into that activity.
Absolutely.
That doesn't change. So if something is changing on your part, as in, listen, I want to try this, or I no longer want to try, I no longer find this enjoyable, blah, 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 that honest, raw conversation has to happen. For example, a woman like for me, I'm getting older. I'm not that old. I'm not 40 years. I'm getting close. And I'm beginning to find out, more about myself and the things that I want to now changing. Having sex in not on the bed has become like, having sex on the bed has become like boring to me personally. So now we're finding ways, even though I've not been on in 2 months, but we're finding ways to do it in other places that is a bit more interesting. So it changes. But what has to change, what cannot change is the honest communication between the two partners as to what you want and what you don't want.
I absolutely agree. And I want you to hold that thought, because we need to come to that. We need to talk about when your fantasies are not compatible. If you want something and your partner, so you've had the conversation and your partner is still like, yeah, no, I am not doing that. So I need to talk about that. But we've just got someone else joining us, and he's joined us all the way from Nigeria. So I would really love to hear his, Colin Farrell from Nigeria, right? I would love to.
Hi, Colin.
I would love to hear. This is my Facebook husband. Everybody meet Bisola. Say hi to Bisola.
Hi, Bisola.
Hey, bad guy.
All participants are muted, and they can unmute themselves. All participants are unmuted.
Okay. So, sorry, I muted everyone for a minute because
All participants are muted.
I wanted to introduce Bisola, and I want a situation where only Bisola is speaking, because otherwise the feedback is going to be ridiculous. So Bisola, you're the only one, you've got the floor all to yourself. I wanted to ask you about this. Before we move on to the next topic, what is your what do you think are the most common sexual fantasies? So I'll tell you what we've covered so far. For women, we've covered the rape fantasy. We've covered dominance. We want our guy to be dominant on us. We want our guy to take charge and all of this sort of thing. We've covered rimming, his and hers rimming. So both men and women like their asshole, I don't know, licked, sucked, whatever you want to call that kind of thing. What else have we talked about? For men, we've talked about threesomes. For men, threesomes, foursomes, and moresomes. Abby, I talked about the dominance, so role play, the guy is the boss, the woman is the secretary, or she's the person who wants a job, or whatever the case may be. We've also talked about that. So what do you think you can bring to the table that we haven't spoken about? I would love to hear from you.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. For me, think the first thing is to clearly define what is a fantasy and what is not fantasy. I mean, there's one lady that talk about difference between fantasy and fantasy, and I quite agree. What you discussed so far in my mind is a lower form of fetish, something you can do, something you do every now and then. A fantasy to me is something rather simple, but it's unattainable. Say, for example, you want to shag your sister's wife.
Your wife's sister, rather.
Yeah, or you are at a wedding where you are a guest and you are saying to yourself, if only this groom will not be well this night, let me just slip into the room and just give her the keys or something. It's a proper fantasy. So that I want to be fucked in the ass or I want to be fingered in the ass. It's something that you can get done if you are bold enough. That's not fantasy. Fantasy should be a dream that wakes up in the morning and gets you, man, if only, you know, it's a goal that you're trying to reach.
So all this one that we have been talking about, what would you call those ones then?
I don't know what you are dreaming big enough. All the things you do on the regular, these are the things you do during lunch break. You know, you don't have to make plans. You know, let's meet up.
I agree with Nigerian telecommunications.
This guy is a real bad gag. I swear to God. I said, oh my God. But I don't agree with you.
And I was trying to sort to before it came.
At this point, I want to say that I agree with Nigerian telecoms. They need to raise the tariff because when the money is too low, people can call. But thank you so much. I love this because
King is the king of background. Rachel, you are being destroyed.
Exactly.
Okay. Say for example, I used to think that my fantasy was Rachel, I hope you will understand you, right?
Yes.
You know, it's probably a fantasy. It's probably that if I were to put some effort into it, you know, borrow some money, buy a ticket, travel to London.
Pound is 550 naira.
Yeah, that's why I said I will borrow money now. If I borrow money, you know, travel to London, I can find her, I can beg her, appeal to her kind side, you know, that do it for charity. She will do it. You know, I'm not possible for the fantasy to be done. So it's not a fantasy anymore. It's something that I can actually get to do. But the fantasy is something that you are with your wife or you are with your main chick and you are thinking in your mind that, damn, if only I was doing this. That's the fantasy. That for me is what a fantasy.
I mean, you know, even though you're the king of bad gang, but I don't agree. Yes, you are bad gang. No. But seriously, I don't think I fully agree with you. You know, fantasies are also things that they're achievable. Attainable. Attainable. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean it's something. I mean, yeah, you can have one of those holy fantasies that are not attainable. But you also have things that, you know, things that you would like to do, that you think that you might like to, what's the word, try out. Those are also fantasies. But to say that the fantasy is something that you have to keep, I mean, of course you can up the ante if you want, you know, like get to that level where you want to fuck your friends. To me, I don't find that as a fantasy. But, you know, some people, that's something that gets them going. You know, and it's very attainable, actually, if you really put your mind to it, if it's something you really want to do. So, you know, that's the area where I didn't quite agree.
Let's take the fantasy thing and then go to the very end of this movie and then press pause. What is the ultimate goal of a fantasy? What do people want to get out of a fantasy? Something
I think what you want to get out of a fantasy is the fact that, oh, you know what, I'm getting something that I know I should not be getting, at least. You know?
No, I want to do this. I want to do this non-everyday thing. And I've now done it. That's what
you've done it and you can check market. But it's not a fantasy.
It's not a fantasy. You know, we here, I don't know about you in London, we don't speak English regularly. So when things like this come up, the first thing we default to is the dictionary. What does the dictionary define as a fantasy. It's like a dream, but the next level of dream. So I would dream of fucking somebody there, and then I would do it. But that doesn't really take me to that fantasy level. That fantasy level, something that, because I know it is unattainable, it is constantly there at my periphery when I'm in my waking moment and even when I go to bed. So what I'm doing to do, I'm thinking about this thing that I can never quite achieve because I can imagine what it would do. I don't know if you...
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say you and your wife are born again. Let's go there. You and your wife are born again. Let's just assume. I mean, just creating a scenario here. You and your wife are born again. You know what the Bible says and all of that. They tell you in church every Sunday. You have this thing of fucking your wife in the ass. And you know, definitely she's not going to agree because morally, you know, this is something that you basically you're thinking about your night like, man, look at that butt. Every time she walks in front of you, you're thinking, oh my God, I can just take it. You know, but it's a fantasy. Even though in your mind it feels like, man, she will never agree. But what if one day, you know, you can
fantasy.
Wait a minute.
If fantasy has to be defined as, if fantasy has to be defined as something that was, no, that isn't a fantasy as defined because that I used to date a girl when I was much younger, where we woke up one day and thought, you know, let's do something different. So we thought, let's do something public. So we got off and went to the cinema in Leicester Square and picked just a random movie at like 2 p.m. and said, right, I want a blowjob. And it happened and we were happy. Said, we achieved that. That's something that you don't do every day, but it gives you a certain kind of buzz. You know, that for some might say, you know, that's the sort of thing that people would do, but to, you know, the sort of thing that you know you can attempt or do every day, to me isn't a fantasy. I think it's the repetitive nature of it that makes it something that becomes regular or a fantasy.
Immediately you've done it, then it's no longer what a fantasy. This is no longer something that you're now hating.
Exactly.
So you can hop the ante. You can hop the ante, you know, but it doesn't have to necessarily mean that, you know, like the way you know, like it has to be something so unattainable. Because initially you never thought that you could fuck your born again wife in the ass. I don't know it's happening.
You guys are fixated with ass. Let's just get that out the way.
No. I'm just making an example. That's not an everyday occurrence. You never even believe this will happen.
All participants are unmuted.
I'm seeing on
that thing you want. So
you're looking at this one like, she won again.
Hello?
No. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello.
We can hear you.
Someone please don't delay. Somebody's asking me this.
I love the topic that we're talking about today.
I'm sure you do. Caller, would you like to introduce yourself?
Or you could remain anonymous.
Hello.
Oh, God.
Hello.
Why the hot topic we're talking about?
Shayo, you just had a baby. Your own fantasy, you literally just had a baby.
Right now, I'm feeling so much fantasy.
Fantasy.
Hello?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Maybe it's a generator noise.
Oh, bless him. Oh, we've lost him. We've lost him, and probably for the best as well. So I would like us to move on because
I'm back.
Jesus.
I'm back. You're not anywhere. I was on another call from
Me, I want to lose you. I will lose you by all means. So,
don't worry. It's how we conceive you.
Go on, so Mr.
So rather than let's get over the. Oh, sorry, yes. let's get over the definitions. I would like us to talk about. I want us to move on because one man's fantasy is another man. So for me, I feel like even if I had a fantasy and I've done it at least once, it's still a fantasy. That once is like, oh my God, I remember this one time that this happened or that happened or whatever the case may be. But it is still a fantasy for me because would I like to do it again? Yes. If I did it every day, would it be a fantasy? No. But once does not remove the mystique or the mysteriousness of that thing, then of course it goes into what I like to call the wank bank. And you can make your withdrawals from time to time. But it's still a fantasy. All that has happened is it's a fantasy that you achieved, basically. But other than the definitions, I would also like to talk about things like I want to talk about incompatibility of fantasy. So this might not necessarily be up Bisola's street because Bisola is saying a fantasy is only that which cannot be attained or that which is taboo, basically. But I also want to talk about what if you have a fantasy that is attainable? So let's go right back down to anal sex. And your wife doesn't want it or your husband doesn't want it. What do we do when you have something you would like to bring into your relationship and your partner is unwilling? So I need to talk to the people. Actually, Bissy, let's hear from you. What would you say the guy should do if he's the one who wants to introduce something and the partner doesn't want?
Well, I'm the wrongest person for that because I've never really been in that situation. Because I don't think I've ever been in a relationship with a woman where we've not talked about. The first thing I do is tell you this is me. I'm broken. I don't need fixing for the next 20 years. And if she's not willing to write, then I don't get into that relationship. Even when I was married, it started that way. So I've never really been in that situation where I'd wanted to do something, in my marriage where it didn't happen. Albeit, I had boundaries. They were not rigid. I would blur the lines once in a while, but there were fantasies where 90% of the time were achievable because we tried as best as possible to keep it healthy. We didn't go down the route of let's buy the cheap £10 Ryanair ticket so we could try it on board. No, but it was things like let's stick a finger there with boy hair. Let's pull.
I swear down, I will never shake your hand again. You are wrong.
I've had a few showers since then.
Oh, ew, you disgusting person.
I don't think. I think if for people that find themselves in relationships where the guy is riding the Formula One car, and she's pushing the polo and can't keep up with him, then why are you guys together? Because
but that's not fair. People are together for lots of reasons.
Like I said to someone yesterday, I personally will be 45 next month. I can't see myself wanting to go back into a relationship now with a woman who we're not talking about partners now, but who would come and say, oh, she's a virgin or she hasn't been out there. I don't have my life is not as long as finance records anymore. I don't have time to teach somebody how to do things from start. I've extended my battery 3 times. You are still getting up.
No, wait a minute. Wait. No. I'm saying we're not talking about the woman is allergic to your penis, for crying out loud. I'm saying a fantasy that you want to introduce. So again, to Abby, you are very staunch.
I said I've never been, but
okay.
If there's anything that I can't think of any. Man, I'm going to have to reach into my very deviant self now.
You don't have to reach that far. Your deviant self is right on the surface. So Abby, I wanna ask you this because you are a staunch supporter or a staunch believer in communication, being honest and being open with each other and letting your vulnerabilities show through. Just a minute, I'm gonna have to mute Bisola, because I think Bisola is in the middle of buying gala or something and La Casera in
Suya or
traffic.
something. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm hearing all the feedback. But okay, so you said to your partner now, because you guys have a history of honesty and vulnerability with each other, babe, you know, I saw this thing or I thought about this thing and I think I'd really like to try it or I really want to do it. And he's like, La yembiko iranu abasha. Again, we're not talking about, oh, he's done it once and it hurts or he doesn't want to do it again or whatever. I'm talking about he just thinks it's dirty. He can't get his head around ever doing that or touching that or even introducing that into the relationship. What would you, and this person is like, okay, this is more than just a I badeda can it, this is I would really like to do this. I really want this. You know what? Let's take something like fellatio. Let's take something like going down on a man or a man going down on a woman. Like I really want to integrate this into our lovemaking. And he is like, I do not put my tongue near that. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You can't beg me. You can't. What, how do they move forward from that stalemate?
Okay, I mean, it's very, very, it's still about communication. It's about not knocking anything until you try. My rule in my relationship is this: you don't say no until you at least done it once. That's the rule. Whether you like it or you don't, you at least owe me once. After the one time, if you don't like it, I have to respect it and move on and find other ways. So in a relationship where, you know, the guy is saying no or the lady is saying no, no way or whatever, the first question would be, have you ever done it before? Because it's because for somebody to tell you no, it's important you understand why. And why that no is important to them. Do you understand? And during that conversation, they also need to understand why the yes is important.
The yes is important, exactly.
If the no is something that basically overweighs the yes, let's say it's something that they just find extremely nauseating, like it's just something that it's not even a matter of, oh, I just don't want to try it. You know, you just say, no, I don't think that's not good enough. You know, but where it's to the point where it just really means a lot to that person, then something has to give. You know, in a loving relationship, somebody is just going to have to give up. Either try it for my sake, or you have to give it up. And you have to give it up with a very open mind. You cannot give it up and still be secretly wanting that thing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Or secretly saying, you're doing your own now.
Secretly saying it's okay, but it's not okay. Now, the other side of it is to introduce it in small doses. For example, if you want a guy to go down with you, and you know your man does not really, really want to do that. So then you introduce it in small doses. You can say, listen, baby, you don't have to go all the way. You know, number one, we have to make sure the hygiene issue is not there. It's not an hygiene issue. You know, and you might can starting with just the upper portion of your groin area, just the upper portion. Don't go all the way. Just tease the clit, just a little. How do you feel about it? And you guys can talk each other through. It doesn't have to always be, oh, you just open wide and it's there and you're eating and all of that. No. You know, maybe you just need to kind of get used to the idea. You know, but I think in every relationship, you owe each other to at least try it once. You might not do it again if the experience is bad, but you at least owe it to each other at least to try it once. And to both be understanding of each other.
Perfect. I don't think I could ask for a better question. Where are my peoples? Best lady of bad gang, Bimbola.
Yes, my dear.
Oh, that's it.
I was just thinking about when you got to that point where you shared enough of your fantasies, or at least most of your fantasies with each other. You guys are you try on occasion. At what point is it that you get to a certain stage where you feel like, okay, we've tried all the fantasies? Do you just I don't know, like, is there a graduation or an evolution to fantasies? You start out with, okay, you like to be tied up, or you want to be bent over a table, or like voyeurism or something, at what point does that graduate into something else? I don't know if anyone's ever experienced that at all.
Okay.
I think it depends. I think it depends on what's going on. It doesn't necessarily have to graduate, in my opinion. Sometimes they actually, sometimes, you might be trying all these fantasies and your sex life is very hard. And your next fantasy might just be having what is that normal sex called? God forgive me. I can't remember. What is it called?
Mommy and daddy sex. See, you can't even remember normal sex. Abby, your life. Missionary, Abby.
Missionary, thank you very much. It comes to the point where having a missionary position.
Missionary, that's it.
Yeah, having a missionary position to be your next fantasy, because there's just a level of bonding. You don't feel like you're acting, you don't feel like you're just that level of step down bonding. So it could go up, it could go down, it could go sideways. It just depends on the pair of you, It just depends, and you have to just be real with it. I think what happens, a lot of people do a little too much. They watch too much TV, they watch this, and they watch in their mind, they're like, I want to try. And, but they're not allowing it to be natural. They're not allowing it to flow. It's a loving relationship. This is not your partner is not a whore, or your guy is not a gigolo, where you're just like, this is just my beef, I want to eat it. No. It's also about connecting on a deeper level. If I'm letting you, like I tell myself, I'm letting you speak yourself in my bar, you must be pretty special. There must be something absolutely amazing about you, because that is not a natural thing I would do. Do you understand what I'm saying? So again, it makes you, and when I give in, giving in into that to make you happy, there's a level of connection. There's a level of trust. There's a level of career that's given again and again and again and again and again. And it deepens the relationship. So it's not just about the physical. It's also about the emotional connection. You know what? If there's anybody in this world, this person will do whatever for me. This person has my back inside the bedroom and outside the bedroom. What I'm saying, does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can completely understand, because was it some weeks back on the show, we were talking about something else, and it kind of segued into S&M and playing dominant and submissive. And one of the things that I was saying was what people don't actually realize is submissive is the one with the power in the relationship. Because the whole point of submitting is you've attained a certain point of trust, and you've allowed and given yourself into that person, but you can easily just say no and not allow them to dominate you. It's you allowing someone. It's not that they're not taking it from you. They're not making you. You give them that chance.
Absolutely. Bisola, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm following.
Okay. Hope the gala seller did not do you 419. So I want to ask you, have you ever found yourself in a position where you don't call them fantasies, your low-level desires were not compatible with the person you were with? And how do you overcome that? How do you introduce? I think this is an important question to ask men, actually, because I may be wrong, I hear that there are lots of Nigerian women who are actually quite restricted, constrained, or I don't even know the English, that there's a whole bunch of things they don't want to do, maybe because they feel, church wahala, or maybe because they feel, oh, what will he think of me if I do this, or, oh, he's going to think I'm a bad girl, or he's going to whatever, or they've tried it before, tried to show their inner freak, and it hasn't paid off well, so they go around doing the good girl thing right up to the point of the bedroom. So what do you do to loosen up a partner, or to get a partner to do more than just missionary, or more than just what she thinks is the prescribed type of sex?
Okay, for me, and I think for a lot of guys here, it's not that complicated. The end for most guys is that I want to come.
Okay.
So, in between, depending on how free or how relaxed your partner is, then they can begin to say, oh, let's try this or let's not try this. More often than not, if the partner is unwilling to try, it's not a deal breaker.
Okay.
You know, people will still go on ahead and have sex for the purpose of fun. However, then you don't have the guys who are the exception to the rule, who, like somebody said, when your fantasy or your dream begin to gravitate from one point to the other, when they've done something often for so long that they feel that they absolutely must go to the next level, then some form of perversion starts to come in. And given that for a lot of us in Lagos or in Nigeria or wherever, most men really, there's not that much sexual communication in most committed relationships. So much so that it's easier for the guy to go out there and find someone that is not emotionally involved with to live out those fantasies.
Okay.
So what you find is the guy might be a freak and his wife will never know. Or the wife might be a freak and the husband will never know.
That's actually quite tragic.
Yeah, it's quite tragic, but well, not tragic really, but it works well for everybody.
It is tragic. It is tragic because ultimately, you know, especially in that constrictive environment of Nigeria that we are, you know, everybody wants to be who they are within the confines of their committed relationship or whatsoever. So if you have to go out there to actually search for it, it is tragic. Because it's not like you're it's not it's like you're not even able to even voice it.
No, the first thing you said is what is the most important qualifier. In a committed relationship, 99.9% of relationships are not committed. They're convenient relationships.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I think if I can cut it now and then just right on
because they want to move to a new area and can't afford the rent by themselves. You know, there are all sorts of reasons outside of I'm committed to this person being genuinely happy, to waking up to please this person. You don't find that anymore. You know.
You know what, Abby? I agree. Abby, I agree with Bisola 100% because
you know what? You know the funny thing? I find it as a high opener, and it's being real, and I really appreciate that raw honesty. But it's very interesting.
No, I was speaking to a friend. The last time I was in Lagos, so what was that, July? I was speaking to a friend, and she'd met a guy, and she'd, in her words, got him to propose, right? So I was like, okay, so when do we meet your guy? I was excited for her because she's been single for a minute and she really wanted, you know, to be with someone. Or so I thought. Come to find out, she really wants to be married. She does, you know, she wasn't in it for the companionship she just wants to be Mrs. Somebody. So when I'm saying to her, so tell me all about him. Oh my God, what do you blah, blah, blah. She reads him out like a CV. Oh, his family name is blah 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 blah. One more ilé kan tó wà ní junction Ìkẹjà yẹn now. That's where that's their own house. That's their family house. Blah blah blah. She talks about his job. She talks about the car he drives. She talks about the fact that he goes to that big, you know, the First Methodist church in, is it Akpongbo, in Isaleko anyway. You know, that's where he goes. His family's family have been going there for generations. She talks about everything. I have no idea what this guy's favorite food is. I have no idea what his favorite color is. I have no idea what he likes, what he doesn't like. Name one romantic thing that you guys did. Oh my God, he flew me to Dubai for my birthday.
We went shopping.
So when Bisola says these things, I can understand. I can understand that it's not about all this M&B, oh, you want to please him. It is a marriage of convenience. It's time I got married. I'm sure your own parents too are telling you that sit there or don't go and marry, Shotikbo, you know. And so there's that aspect as well. So
I think fantasies, just to cut it, Rachel. I think fantasies are like just like it was a textbook definition earlier. Fantasies are those sort of things that if you take it out of sex or take it into like normal life, if you ever walked into your boss's office and seen that his chair is high backed and Chesterfield is different from your everyday cubicle type of chair, I know that you think, I want to be in that office one day. That's a fantasy. You know, how do you get there? It is achievable. You know, what do you have to do to get there? But that's down to the one person, singular as well. In sex, it's the same thing as well. I want to achieve this. How do I get it? A, communication is one, and B, you have to work hard at it as well. Now, if you, sometimes I think men, we're from a different planet. We're from Venus, so you're from Mars, or the other way around. I can't remember. But we put ourselves out there for centuries, and songs have been sung about this. It might seem very masculine or Marxist or whatever, but you know, every man wants a lady in the streets, a cook in the kitchen, and a freak in the bed. That's just how it is.
That's a lie, first of all. That's a lie. Let's get that out the way. But continue.
That is very true.
Hey, the voice! Hello!
Very, very, very.
What voice?
The voice joined us. All the other men, please.
By the time you get to a point where you can wake your wife up at 10 p.m. and say, go to Tesco and buy bread, and not even care about it, that you don't care anymore. She has to be a lady outside, and this and that. There are 3 different compartments. We're very, very compartmentalized. We don't multitask.
I agree.
That sex part of it is where the freakishness comes in. Now, like I said, it graduates.
Excuse me. There's a reason why I said I disagree, because actually Bisola and I had a conversation about this just last night, but I'm just going to have to mute Bisola for just a quick fraction of a second, because I can hear he's driving through traffic and it's giving me quite a lot of feedback here in the studio. But I will bring him on board to say, you know, his own 2 cents, because we kind of disagreed on this. And I said this: I have heard this phrase so many times. A man wants a lady in the streets, a cook in the kitchen, a freak between the sheets. Men will marry women who put salt in eba. They will marry her if she gives him...
If she's a freak in the bed.
Maybe. Or if she's a lady in the streets, i.e., oh, good family name, my mother always liked her, blah, 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 blah. So he will forgo that cooking, forget it. Yes, there are some men who that is important enough for them to not marry a girl, but mostly it is not really that big of a deal. Number 2, you see that freak between the sheets. Foul. Men want a woman who is just a little bit, and again, I'm saying law of averages. I'm not saying every guy here, but you can be freaky, but be less freaky than me. That's number 1. Number 2.
I don't agree with you, Rachel.
Wait. Let me finish my point. Number 2. So my first point is you can be freaky, but be less freaky than me, because the day a guy gets to meet the mother of all freaks, when she shows you a position you've never seen before, and I'm talking dating, I'm not, by the time you've married her, you know, you're just like, dang, you can do that? Not bad. That's fine. I'm talking maybe dating, you did one move where your one leg was up by the chandeliers or something. He will have second thoughts. They want a good church. The point starts running through their heads, which is, oh, how many guys has she done? Where did she learn this? What's going on here? What have I got myself into? Is she some kind of porn star? Is she changing partners every other day of the week? The only guys who will blatantly marry a freak, like, yes, this is the market I've been looking for, and this is where I'm parking my keke napep, and this is where I'm going to stay, is either... This is the last bus stop. Is either second ride around the rodeo. So I've been married. I've done the good girl. Eshe, thank you. I married the one that my mother liked. I married the good Christian girl and blah, 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 blah. And now I want to live the life I want. I want to wake up to sex every morning, noon, and night and everything. Either that or a man who is so secure in his sexuality that he will not judge her based on that act. And you don't get that attitude mostly in guys who are in their late 20s.
Rachel, you mentioned about roughly about 10 different kind of men. So it's whatever gets your goal. I mean, but to say that generally speaking, a man does not want a freak in the sheets or someone that is freak. As a matter of fact, a man would rather you be freakier than him in bed.
Lie.
And most men will admit it.
Abby, you are talking about your man. Abby, you're talking about your man.
I'm not talking about my man because it's not the only man. I'm telling you. You know why men like that.
I don't
Let
agree.
me tell you. Because there's a level of confidence. Wait a minute. There's a level of confidence that comes with the fact that a woman owns what is hers. You know, and she brings it into the bedroom. Now, when you're talking about immature boys, then you're describing those ones that will say, that's because I fuck you well means that I'm a slut. I mean, come on. You know, so you're not dealing with a man. You're not dealing, you know, so you have to kind of pick. You have to just kind of pick the one that's for you. If you're dealing with mature men, then those kind of shitty conversations will come on. But when you're dealing with a man, you know, they actually truly appreciate the fact that you're confident in walking around naked and
nonsense.
Why do you think a lot of men get older women? Because older women are secure in themselves.
They say it, Abby.
They're
What they say,
okay
who they fuck, and who they... Abby, 1 minute, Dolapo.
Yeah.
Abby, what men say, who they marry, and who they fuck are three completely different things. What men say, a man will sit here and say, oh, I don't mind if my woman earns more than me. I don't mind if my woman is this. I don't mind if my woman challenges me. Who men walk up the aisle with? You go there on the Saturday and see who he ends up marrying. Who he dates, i.e. the girl on the side, the mistress, the blah, 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 will be the freaky deaky chick. But if you are talking, who men marry? Yes, they don't mind discovering themselves with the freak. They don't mind the lady being, oh my God, she wore me out.
Rachel,
I had to
why
tap
do you
out.
think a lot of younger women lose their men to older women? It's for that one reason. Older women
They don't care. They don't wife them. Abby, they don't wife them. They don't wife them. They don't wife them. They don't. They don't wife them.
Order, Rachel.
Let the men in the house tell us otherwise.
Okay, just listen. First of all, it takes a topic like this to get everybody's blood just boiling. You have to understand one thing. If you're talking about a guy that's in his 20s, first of all, he's not totally matured yet. When it comes to intimacy, he's all about himself. Get his own and be gone. Now, when you're talking about a man that's fully matured, I can tell you one thing. Most men, because we cannot speak with absolute certainty in here, most men definitely want that freak. Why? Simply because we want a freak, and it takes a freak to let us know exactly where we can take you to get yours off. Now, when you're dealing with somebody that's just there, that's not freaky, then you're not deciding which route are you going to take. We already know where we go. We will get there. But the question is, are you going to be satisfied? And believe me, we'll leave to satisfy you.
Hello, can I say something?
Is that
right?
This is the Barry White of Bad Gang that just spoke. But Bisola is about to say something. I don't know.
More Facebook friends tonight.
Colin Farrell, please feel free.
Yeah, I've heard a lot. And I don't agree with a lot of it. I agree with some of it.
Okay.
That story or that line that a man wants to freak in bed and this and that. It's rather incomplete. The full verse of that poem actually starts with a man and a woman that love each other. A man would rather fall in love with blah 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 blah. However, because it is illegal to marry 3 women, trying to get as much as possible into 1 woman. So really, regular sex, let us not mistake it, because we're talking about sex. Regular sex is not bad sex. People have been getting by on okay sex for forever. They've been doing missionary, and they have been okay with it, and there have been no issues. It's just that as we become more aware, we just want to try more. I'm not saying that if a guy doesn't get freaky, he's going to ruin his relationship or whatever. After all is said and done, I think it was Rachel that said it, some guy will be freaky outside, but then he will settle down in church quiet girl. Because
and then go out there and then go out there and look for another freak outside.
Exactly.
Please, let's be real here. Let's be real.
Of marriage. Really, it's the real world of it. Sex is not the be-all and the end-all of marriage. There's more to marriage and marriage.
But it's an important thing to get, like salt in your cooking.
It's an important factor marriage.
Oh, yeah.
There are many marriages that go on without sex. There are men who marry today, have a 2-month honeymoon or 2-week honeymoon, and they go off to war, or they go to far, or they go to another country, and their marriages still survive. Sex.
Why the way really?
One at a time. One at a time.
There are also women who
1 minute, please. 1 minute, Bisola. Bisola, give me 1 minute. Bisola, give me 1 minute. Abby, what were you going to say?
Rachel, I'm going to have to beg off. And
okay.
Go.
Yeah.
I have children. I have children in Nigeria that go to bed. No. I'm actually able to home, so I need to call Nigeria. So thank you for having me, Rachel. And
you're welcome, and you're welcome back anytime. Okay, all right. Everyone, say bye to Abby.
I'm meeting you all. Bye, Abby.
Bye, Abby.
Abby, you're still on the ticket. You're gonna be president. You're after Buhari is you.
No worries.
Is that Abby?
That is your Abby, Dolapo.
Have you guys settled?
All right, Dolapo. Oh my gosh. Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Rachel, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Rachel. Everybody, this is Rachel. Okay. I'm Rachel. She's Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Hello. Hi. Rachel. Hi, I've been quiet for a long time. I think it was people that said something now about sex not being the be-all of marriage.
Yes.
It's a very, very important part of marriage. For men who go to war, hopefully they don't go to war forever. I've been a soldier's wife, so I can tell you, being on an American base and seeing men go to war and they've gone for very long, yes, their wives are having sex. Doesn't mean they don't love them. Their wives are having sex. And the soldiers are having sex somewhere else too.
Thank you. Is that it?
So I agree that.
So just one minute. Just 1 minute.
So that sex is like the glue. Like the glue. It's like an IKEA chair. You've got to put the thing together.
Can everybody just give me a minute, please? Rachel, I need you to turn your volume all the way up because you are so quiet.
So, one moment. I have to
okay.
come out of the office. We're talking sex before everybody starts staring at me. What kind of marriage is this? Can you hear me better?
Yes, we can. So go ahead. So you were saying, don't even trip. The ladies on the base, while waiting for their husbands to come back, basically getting laid.
I mean, and I'm not saying there isn't that virtuous woman somewhere who wasn't getting laid. That is 0.1%.
Oh my days.
Many were getting laid. Even when the husband would go on mission for a week or two, what we're talking about here, it is a very important part of the marriage. And
No, Rachel, can I
please come in, Bisola, yes. Bisola, come in.
Can I speak quickly, too?
Yes, please, Bisola.
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. that's important in the marriage. You're actually proving my point when you say that a woman or a man can sleep with somebody else and still be in that marriage. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So it doesn't necessarily matter that you and I have to be sleeping together all the time to make sure that our marriage works. No! It's neither end of the
Sex is important. Well, actually,
you don't have to be amongst the two of them. And if that's what you can get it anyway. People that don't even go away, they are just shining other people. There are many hotels that are booked today in Lekki that will be occupied by married men and married women that are not married to each other.
Very
But that doesn't mean that their marriages won't work, or their marriage will not continue to work, or they don't love each other, or they love each other anyway. Get out there. That's like the work with them, when they don't have enough of it, and they're getting alcohol.
Well, in that case, when you're saying that there are so many hotel rooms that are booked in Lekki with married men and women who are married to each other, the problem then becomes more than likely they're not getting the kind of sex that they're looking for.
No, it's not my brother. It's not there are some people that are married to cheaper currently. They just want to start someone else. It's not about who we are. Who we are. It's not about so you sleep with somebody else. They have different fantasies. We just want to fuck someone else. Serious. It's a conquest for most guys. I buy a great car, I dress well, I speak well, I go to the best school, the best club. It's just so I can have sex with as many people as possible. It doesn't have anything to do with the type of sex. It's like your leg and put you behind your ear.
Hold on. Can I put no word there?
I don't know where people are from Asia. How we roll.
Hello, just hold on a second.
Please.
When you're talking about all those women, especially the in the 20s and the 30s, married to chifus in the 60s or whatever, they're obviously they're not getting that type of mind blowing. You know what? So hold on a second. Now it doesn't mean that they don't want their marriage. I can tell you that they're there. They're married for a different reason. They're married for the security and the comfort they get from the man. But obviously, yeah, the sex is not part of it. And they figure that, you know what, I can get that somewhere else. It doesn't mean that it's not an important part of a marriage. In fact, like I said earlier, it's like you're cooking. If for me as a Niger guy, Yoruba man, salt and pepper are very important ingredients in anything we cook. It does not mean that you can cook a meal without it. You can cook a meal without it, but it won't taste the same to me.
I think what Bisola is saying is this. Sex is important, yes. Sex with the person you married is not the sole reason for getting married, or is not the most important thing to the point where you say, so therefore I can no longer have sex with this person, so I'm going to break up with this person, or I'm going to divorce this person. Like, people will find ways around things to do what they want to do and still be married and still love their partner.
Like exploring their fantasies elsewhere.
Yes. Yes.
Which was about.
The first advice I gave when I became a marriage counselor is, especially to women, it's always nice to let your partner know when you are having great sex. Even if you have to call him on the phone.
Well, I agree with that. Why not let your partner know? I mean, if man, there's nothing
if there's communication and there's trust and there's honesty, you know, man, guys, now I'll choose some things when I get home. You know, this is how you're doing it going forward. Blah 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 blah. But,
yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with picking up the phone and calling your spouse and saying, you know what, last night, Orobo Wisha. Okay, tonight I'm about to too much in you. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Oh, okay.
Bisola, oh dear Melo. How many times have I called you now?
You called me 3 times. Yeah. I may not have this, but I can speak for it.
Yeah, you can't. Go and start borrowing the money, put your house on collateral and do and be coming. So, We are digressing
Yeah, Richard,
completely.
please, I will come to that London.
I want to. So the next thing I want to talk about is every so. All things, how does it say that line in the Bible? Something along the lines of all things are permissible, but not everything is expedient. So we've talked about if your fantasies are incompatible. Now, what about if your partner says, yes, let's do it? Is it everything you should include in your marriage? Is it everything you think about that you should act out? Is it everything that pops into your head that you should do? Even if they say yes, should you go ahead?
No.
And if no, why not? Yes. Let me start with Bimbo. Bimbo, what is your answer to that question and why?
No, it's not everything that you will share. The why is not from a personal experience. However, I do remember clearly someone telling me about it. No, but really, this part isn't. Because if it was, you know me, I'd have called you on the phone and told you. This was about someone talking about the reason why they broke up with a guy that they were so excited about. And it was when they split fantasy. And one of the fantasies that he said was he liked, I think they call it satin or whatever, which is
doing
the other one, doing things with what comes out of number two.
Yeah, pooing. You're pooing. Yeah.
That is nasty.
Yeah. So no, that guy, he had talked because this girl was so crazy about him until he opened his mouth and it was just like it works. You know the way it works when Wiley Coyote is facing the roadrunner. The roadrunner will run over the cliff, but Wiley Coyote will just follow the way down and flat. That's how attraction just went and just splattered all over the floor. So
I disagree with you. That he shouldn't have opened his mouth. It's a good thing he opened his mouth because if that relationship had progressed, then it will have. I mean, if they become totally exclusive, he will have been out there doing something else.
Yeah.
True.
But see, that's the thing as well. I've not spoken today.
That's when your husband will leave his work as a bank manager and says he wants to go and be washing toilets. You won't know why, not knowing that he has a fantasy. It's okay. Inkirika, you were saying.
Yes, I said I haven't spoken today. My notepad is full. You people, hey, that's people in the house. I have not said a word. Have you not noticed? My notepad is full. Anyway,
the thing about fantasies is you have to understand that in relationships there are two types of people. In every relationship, those who were brought up and those who were dragged up. Now, the one guy who's gone through a series of experiences, some which he went seeking himself, some which he found by accident, has found himself in a place where he's willing to. I mean, someone very earlier in the conversation talked about men, heterosexual, fully 101% heterosexual men who will get a high or a buzz from women taking the finger in his ass because there's a gland or some sort of like whatever that is a hyphen, sexual, whatever. How did that person find it out? I mean, did she tell him during dinner that tonight I want to stick a finger in your mouth? And he went, all right, yeah, go ahead and try. No, it was something that she wanted to do. Maybe she's read about it or had tried it before with a previous lover, and it got her behind, so she thought I'll try with Mr. B, who I'm now married to, and the response was the same. She thought, right, this is good. So we all come from different people. We all come from different walks of life, but to arrive at the same place. Well, business talked about the three marriages in one. Freak in the room, cook in the kitchen, lady in the streets, and all that. Yeah, it's permissible in some cultures. But the thing is, when you are married and you have a different level of freakiness than the person you're married to, you cannot maintain that freakiness with that same person. It is just not possible. You are going to go out and try and seek the same, higher levels. I went to school with a friend who smoked Igbo for the first time when he was like 17 and he got a high. And when he went to Ife, he kept trying to find the high. So sometimes he would go downstream to Ibadan and rent a canoe to go to drive down the street just and then smoke. He would just try to get to that high, but he never did.
First time love, yeah.
You know, so it happens. I mean, so you've had guys that where they met a woman and the first time she gave him a blowjob, and when he was about to come, he was expecting her to take the penis out of her mouth, but she kept it and then swallowed it. It was like, my goodness, you know, this is the deal. You know, but then once that one time is done, you know, because well, you know, being there for the t-shirt, the next time he wouldn't have the same sort of high. So he'll be looking for something else. You know, whatever that something else is, it does happen. So we're all the product of where we've been, and our sexual experiences or our fantasies is pretty much your starting block, my finishing line. You know, and if we now get together as a couple, then we have to now try and reach that distance. Whether it's a 100-meter race or 4x100, God help you if it's a 10,000-kilometer race that you've met in a relationship. And, you know, when you guys starting and you're at the end, you guys have got like a lot of ground so which to catch up. So I think our fantasy is a product of not necessarily how many lovers we've had, but the boundaries with which we pushed ourselves with the lovers that we've had. You could have been one man for like 5 years, but then gone through like about 20 different things with that person where, you know, you thought, you know, with every time you had, you know, you good rapport, the communication was sweet, you were ready to that person. When they said something, they put it away. I mean, if you wanted to, you know, ride your woman with the craziest balls, bigger, I mean, like about 25 kilograms bigger than a vibrator would, you set her up. You know, when you know she's really freaky and she's ovulating, whatever, and she's really good to her, that's when you've never done washing in your life. That's when you think, let's go and load the laundry. Once you know the thing is about spinning, you go and put on the washing machine and then start spinning. It's where people, you know, our fantasies are driven by where we want to get to, where you might be at a different level than the person you're married to or you're with in the relationship. You can talk to them about things, but you must talk to them so that they understand exactly where you are. Okay. And if they're not willing to get there with you, then they can say, well, you know,
you need to respect that. I agree.
So Iker was in the middle of saying something. Please come back, Iker.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because this is what I was talking about. You know, when you're in a relationship and your fantasies are not compatible. Yeah, remember we were talking about that. Yes. Well, like for me, and a few guys I have known in the past, my fantasy with them was not compatible because I'm not into anal sex. You dare not. In fact, you dare not venture to try to, without my knowledge, say to me, or you don't say
a surprise anal.
You know, I've had 2 instances where, you know, when you're so into it, your head is gone, you're like, wow, and then all of a sudden I felt this hint of pain.
Yeah, that's how they used to do. Yes. That's how they used to do. Surprise.
I was like, what? And you know what? Later, I won't lie to you. There and then, it was over. I was like, get up of my house. That was it. I would end it there. And that's all. No speaking, nothing. So it wasn't, the thing is, I believe if that's your fantasy, and you really want to explore fantasy with someone you're with, it's good to have that conversation. You can't just plunge your pee-pee into my hole. To me, that hole is an exit. I tell people, it's an exit only, no entrance. Exit.
But that is
one entrance, one exit.
One way.
I've heard this before. before. I want to ask the ladies in the house as well as the guys in the house, because I've actually heard this before, where some men have said, "There's no way you can tell a lady certain things, especially a Niger lady, that she will say, 'Oh yeah, I'm down with that. Let's do that. I can't wait for you to actually put your penis in my bum,' or 'I can't wait for you to spank me and slap me,' or whatever." Even if it is something they might be interested in, but they will not agree. So I've heard this from more than one guy where they've said, and I'm not talking about rape or doing anything they didn't ask you to do, but I've certainly heard guys say, "I will come in her mouth and not tell her. Like, I know she's going to be angry, but there's no way I'm going to say, 'I want you to give me a blowjob and let's just keep doing it until I come.'" Or there's no way. So they will do the surprise slipping it into your bum. They will do the surprise waiting until they get into your, until they reach the point of no return and then come in your mouth, because they reckon she go vex, after she vex she go chill. That's how they she go calm down. So what do the men in the house think of? Have you heard this? And ladies, what do you think? Really, do you think you would agree to some of these fantasies we have heard today if they were put in front of you? So in the way that what's it called, Abby? You're a prostitute. Wait, the way that Abby was saying that communication is everything. Communication is everything. Would you guys really accept that level of communication?
I've had fantasies before that I didn't even know was my fantasy until it happened to me. Then I said, "Oh my goodness, this is actually my fantasy." I think the first time I actually was ever in a situation where I had to argue in the woman's mouth. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't think it would happen, but when it did, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I actually would have loved that to be done to me," and it happened. So that the surprise part of fantasy outside sex, you may have at some point in your life, I want my husband to whisk me away to beautiful islands for my birthday and all that, but it's something that you think is unachievable. You're married, you're turning 40, the guy's living cruise all over the house, he's going to take you to holiday in Romford, in the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, someday he picks you up, he puts you on like, if you ever been to boarding school, Arudo, and sends you all the way to Croydon, and puts you to the jet, and then takes you to like someplace in Italy. And then, you have the most amazing weekend, and you think, "Oh, that is a surprise." That the surprise element of the fantasy sometimes knows that it can actually, it's 50-50.
No, I'm saying that's different. The guy is planning me a surprise cruise, or the guy is taking the risk, feeling like there is no Nigerian woman who will say yes to these things I want to do. So I am going to do it, and let that be that. That is what I'm talking about.
It's still 50-50.
Someone was about to say something. Was that Rachel? Was that Rachel?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, go ahead, Rachel.
Rachel. So
Okay.
I am a Nigerian woman. I'm a Nigerian woman who has done 90% of the fantasies we've talked about, and I did it with my husband based on talking first. So I think those stereotypes really need to stop, and it's absolutely disrespectful to surprise to show that at someone. Find out if they want to or not.
Yeah.
Simple. Thank you.
Help me tell them.
Bimbo, talk to me. Yes.
Yes.
You were saying something. You said simple.
All I'm saying is I agree with Rachel, and I think Nkiri was agreeing with me as well. I think, yes, I don't completely blame the men that think that, the Nigerian woman will automatically say no, so therefore they should do this. I don't blame them for thinking that they might say no. I do blame them for going ahead with it, because obviously we've been conditioned to not be so overt with our sexuality and what we want and what we don't want, especially considering our culture. However, there are those women like myself, Rachel, and some of the people that I know that are open-minded enough to say that, you know what, I know you don't, I know you enough and I respect you enough to know that us doing something that is sexually overt or freakish does not mean that you would think I'm a slut. If it's not going to work between us, it's because it's not going to work between us. So in the meantime, let's enjoy each other. You want to offer, suggest, or you tell me what your fantasies are and want us to do it, then sure, why not? And if it's a no, then it is a no. At least you will know that, look, this is probably a deal breaker for this person. And if you say, okay, I'm not so sure, then it comes back to what Abby was saying earlier in the sense that, okay, you try and ease into it. If you say, I'm not so sure, if you say, let's go in the backyard, like, Nkiru said, you do the, you know that's a deal breaker for her. So in that kind of situation, you have to understand that unless you want it to be over with this person, then you're not going to do that. So yes, I think men should discuss it with women.
Yeah. Dolapo, you were about to say something. Please jump in here.
Well, to me, yeah, I totally agree with what everybody has said. I mean, discuss it with me, and let's see whether it's a no, it's give it a try, or yeah, I've been thinking about that. Definitely, certain fantasies are not going to be something we need to now bring out the pen and paper and write pros and cons of. Some are just going to be so outrageous that you can mention it in passing, make it like a joke, and you get my reaction from it. I mean, if you as my spouse are going to tell me that you fantasize about putting on a strap on and just getting me from behind, I'm sorry, you better talk to me about that because it ain't happening.
Let us have the conversation.
Let me know so that I know that I probably need to start sleeping in the guest room from now on. If you're talking about fantasies about, okay, fine. Can we just can I just cough you off to the bedpost or whatever? It's still a no for me because I don't know what you're after. So
okay, but I have a question about this. Because you've touched on something, Dolapo. Let me talk about this. So when you say things like, look, if you don't want your back passage violated, I completely understand that, and I understand it. Like, I just don't think I would like to do it. I don't think I would like to try it. But things like, I don't want her tied. No, that's him. I'm talking to him specifically now.
Okay.
But what the stuff like being tied up or something, surely if you've been married for X number of years, trust is no longer the situation. There is no situation where your missus. So what is the stopping block? I'm wondering what happens in people's minds when it comes to sexual fantasies.
Okay. Look,
where it's like, I will go this far and no further. That's what I want to get behind, the psyche or the mental picture.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I've been married 21 years, right? And I can tell you, 21 years, I have accumulated enough. What's the word I'm looking for? I've accumulated enough crimes.
Experience.
Enough crime.
So if you're not a designer that's in the middle of the passion and everything, you bring out coughs and you say, "Come on, man! I just want you to be helpless." Why like that? My mind will start thinking about all the crimes you said. That's okay, I forgive you.
That means it's your bad mind, it's your conscience that's judging you.
Even my interest will be down. Even that brother there will just do what your own.
The brother will say, "I did not co-sign this. This is not something that I was part of." Okay, so
I mean, any other thing, okay, fine, I'm good. You want to dress up as a maid in a costume.
That's the one thing.
I can play all that.
I know that.
So I want to go around the room because some of you have spoken, and I want to get from the other people, what are your hard limits and why? I'm going to start with BC. What is the thing that you're like, you know what? No, not doing it. Don't want it. Don't care. Just don't bring it to my table. I'm not here for it. I don't like it. I'm not going to entertain it. And why? Go.
I think my 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 body is an all seasons all
Hi, busy.
body that I just think I just don't think anything should go in. Things can come out but not go in. But anything else that you can bring to the table that, from the last strand of hair on my head to my, fledgling toenail is quite acceptable as far as I'm concerned. That's just me.
But nothing
That's
should
just
go
me.
in.
So I draw the line, that's draw the line. And the same way as, and I'll say this, as much as my freakiness, I don't think there's a skill, ever made that could pretty much come close to my freakiness. But I'm also one that's supremely confident in what I can get out of a woman, and the fact that I believe that a woman's vagina is, the ear hole is, that's about the house page from the most pleasurable place in the world. So why would I want to basically stroll down the road for what again? That's just me. So everything else has to basically remain within the confines of whatever her body is, and whether she's a size 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, I don't go beyond that anyway. But so that part of the body.
What's wrong? Plush puppies need love too. Plush puppies need love too. Wow, what you got against big girls? So that means nothing between me and you. Thank you for even telling me. Let me be writing down names of noisemakers from now.
You might want to take this long. But anyway, so basically, yeah, so to me, those two, that one part of the body now, it is nothing medical, biblical, whatever to it, but it's just probably because I don't think I'm going to that level of freakiness. It might have this show in a year, and I might come back and tell you, just everything I said last year. But then, this is the now. And
but now it's a no.
I'm going back to, I'm going back to what I said in the very beginning of the show that, our freaking graduates,
Okay.
and that is like, we might try something. I can remember, I'm sitting here tonight over the last 2 hours. I've been going back and forth, to the different things that's happened to me that I've done, things that happened by surprise. And I'm not one, a lot of relationships that I've had, we've talked about things, but majorly, most of the very, very, very good experiences I've had were things that remained unspoken up until when it happened. Now, having said that, these things happened, quite a lot have happened before marriage, after marriage, and after marriage. So it wasn't really confined to the committed two-person relationship. It was about the individuals concerned and the fact that both were at a point where, you could say things, albeit, out within the realms, or outside the realms of being a deviant. There were things that I've done and that have been done to me that were very, very pleasurable, and not crossing that very rigid boundary of fetishness, or where I've had to now go back and start reading the Bible and just staying in Leviticus and thinking, is that wrong or is that right? So I'm quite happy with. I don't know. Yeah, that's just it for me. That part for me and that part for her, to me, is the one thing that I've never. But I did try it once. I didn't like it, so I know that for a fact that I tried.
What did you try? Giving or receiving?
Well, giving, and she was over the moon, and I thought, really, is that what gets you? That's not good for me. But I wasn't prepared to basically, go down that route, and she was quite happy. And so yeah, I like the fact that I put that in there. But no, I didn't. I didn't.
So, thank you for that, Dolapo. Quickly, then, please.
Yes, ma'am.
We've touched on your don't tie me up, don't render me helpless, don't do, and then again, don't stick anything where I haven't given you permission to stick, which is the back panel.
Especially when she whips out a 12-inch thing, and you think,
So, Do you have any other hard limits, any other thing that you would like, no way, and why?
Oh well, I'm not into what's that thing? Golden shower.
Golden showers and scats. Anybody waste, no way.
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Rachel, I'm listening. Where's Rachel?
Yeah, I'm here. All right.
Okay. So talk to me about hard limits. What is your complete no-nos and why?
Right now, I have none.
Good girl. Kai,
Oh, she's married. Damn it.
you see your life outside. Please, this is our... Wait, Rachel, what's your name? Stella. I was going to say Stella. Please, her name is Stella. Yes, so a little bit of how's your father?
Right now, I have none.
Okay.
I will try everything once. Like Abby said, I will try everything once and then I'll make up my mind.
Nice.
That's
Nice. That's Stella. Stella is not that kind of person that you can come and catch her on a bad day. Stella is good to go. So in Kiruka,
anytime.
I know your own is anal, but what is? Do you have any other hard limit?
No, funny enough. Well, like the left of the golden shower, it's not. It's the woman that does it for the man. I mean, men do it too as well. Do they?
Yes, now anybody can shower on anybody at any. If bath hungry, you.
On me. The one where I bath with what I know. I think. All right. But seriously, on a serious note, my main pet hate is the
Sorry, oh.
Like I said, it's an exit, not an entry. I have one entry down there and one exit. I don't want to take, in my head, the fear for me, I think it's just paranoia, but the fear for me is that place will become elasticated. I come and open wide.
You say, and come.
I want them to hold my shit back.
You can't even fall.
This is the fear. I don't know if it's paranoia that is bugging me. It's not, because someone said to me, I had a friend, girls, and we sat down in a round, kind of like a round table discussion on sex issues. And I was saying that, you know what, that's a big no. They go, you need to try it. It's quite interesting. They said it will hurt initially. Can you imagine? It will hurt initially, but it will be okay. I don't want to hurt initially. My kind of
hurt initially.
I beg, that was painful. I'm not having this.
It will hurt initially. They're not even trying to say it properly. That's so rude. It will hurt initially. So,
but it will relax. It will relax.
Eshe, thank you. Because is it Venus or is it Revlon? It will relax. I beg.
Use some leaves.
You relax.
So finally, we have
to take the area off your menu.
You lot are disgusting. You lot are disgusting. Bimbo, can you hear us?
Thank you. Compliment.
Bimbo, can you hear us? Oh, Bimbo is trying to log in furiously, but unfortunately, the line doesn't seem to be working for her. She's been trying for the last 5 minutes. So,
let's answer for Carmen.
Oh yeah, I know you guys are friends. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Carmen has no hard limits right now. Like Stella, Carmen will try anything once.
Yes.
Because people ask her, they don't surprise her.
Yes. Bimbo, sorry, my bad. Carmen and Stella are trisexuals. They will try anything at least once. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so grateful to you guys for logging in, for staying on. Bissy gave me every single second of the 2 hours. Thank you so much. To Abby, we're going to have her on next week. I'm going to try and listen back to this to play back. And let's hope the audio was great, because if this works, ladies and gentlemen, this is so amazing. Every single country can have a local number and you guys can join us, which will make it way more animated. I can't thank you enough. Thank you for your time. Thank you for calling in. I love all of you. Thank you. Everybody start saying goodbye one by one.
Good night, everyone. Good evening.
Oh,
Have a great weekend.
Good night.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And we'll see you on Friday. Good night. Good night.
Spasiba.